Hi, I'm Alex Anderson. We've got star-spangled eyes for today's quilt, a stained glass look at Uncle Sam. Demonstrating this technique is quilt designer Linda Everhart. Linda, he looks a lot like Abe Lincoln.
He does look like Abraham Lincoln. Some of the drawings did resemble Abraham Lincoln. Other drawings would resemble Yankee Doodle. And there's a lot of controversy on all of it, you know, who was what and who did which. But he just has a beautiful design. He has a lot of red, white, and blue. And Thomas Nast was the artist that did the drawings.
A lot of great information historically today.
Oh, it's fun looking the history and researching it.
Now, you've shown us how to do this, but sometimes problems can occur. Like, for instance, here, I noticed that the fusing came up. How do you deal with this?
This is a very forgiving technique, the way I do it. If, for instance, maybe I cut the fabric wider on this and it did not allow enough adhesive to share with the neighbor, I would simply trim a nice 1/4 inch of a fusible webbing that is sticky on both sides. And I like to mend this way, and I'll simply just cut a piece of it after I have a nice narrow 1/4 inch, and I will simply slip this behind and put this underneath, press it in place, and then it will be mended.
Great.
Another way that you can mend is with a glue stick, so whatever's easiest for you.
Whatever you have on hand, I guess, right?
Exactly.
You said that you told me during break you can change color decisions.
Yes.
That really surprises me.
Well, once in a while, you decide that you didn't pick the right color, and say if I wanted his hair or his beard darker, I would simply go in and I would cut along the edge and cut this piece out. And again, use your adhesive and put a new piece in behind.
And the reason you don't just gently lift it up with scissors or something?
Well, if you pull it, you might unravel the lead line. You want to keep a nice crisp line to sew on.
Okay, so once we're satisfied with this, and we're very satisfied with this,
Yes.
How do we finish Uncle Sam up?
Well, this piece right here, right now, there's not one stitch in this.
Oh, really?
This is all put together it's all fused. There has not been one stitch. And when you're seeing it, it looks like a quilt. So to finish this, I'm going to lay the quilt on the batting with the backing behind as well. I will layer this. I like to do a basting, maybe 4 inches across, just by hand, just a simple basting. One thing when you're putting it together, if you do press it, any adhesive that's loose behind there, that really helps stick to the batting as well. So this is a great way to start. Now what I like to do once I have it together and basted is I'll take it to the sewing machine. I use a pressing foot on my machine that just kind of has a groove in it. And I like to do that because it'll go over top of the stitching, as well as it needs to have a hole so that you can see the zigzag stitch as you're doing this. And I will satin stitch all the way around this. Now some people, instead of satin stitch, they'll set their sewing machine for a buttonhole stitch. Again, they're about the same, real close together, but if you don't know how to set up a satin stitch, put it on buttonhole and set it up, and that just gives you a wonderful stitch to go around it.
And you will do it on both sides of the leading.
Exactly. Once I've done this, if there's any white showing in between my stitches, I'll take a black fabric marker and just kind of go along the edge so that you can have it just a nice.
See, you did what I
narrow
did. But this is a lot easier.
This is really easy.
I think this is absolutely terrific, and you did not just make this particular quilt, you've made a lot of other ones, and I'd like to take a look at the one you teach with. You say it's actually a good one to start with.
Yes. The one that my favorite to teach is called Enchanted Fantasy. This is the first one that I designed, and it's very, very easy.
And then below it is Steeplechase. How difficult is Steeplechase in relationship to Enchanted Fantasy?
They're both really easy. It's just a fun technique, and we just have a lot of fun in the classrooms as I'm doing it.
Okay, and then Inspiring Desire. It's beautiful. It's so bright.
Inspiring Desire is my favorite. I designed that because it's a desire in my heart to work on it and make me a really good person.
Would that be a difficult one to do with all the curves and the circles and all that?
No, it's not difficult at all, but it is nice if you have a big area to work with. Again, I like to keep my projects flat. So the flatter you can keep them, the less movement you have, the easier it is to cut them out.
Do you ever photograph stained glass windows on your journeys and then go home and duplicate them?
Well, it could be duplicated as long as they're over 100 years old.
Okay.
I take pictures of them, and I redesign and change designs and have fun with it. But there's lots of things that you can do.
Okay, and last but not least, we have fairies. Tell us about this quilt.
Well,
or the two quilts.
Oh, the fairies, they're my favorite. Again, Oh, they just speak to you. One, sweet remembrance, and one is simply irresistible. The faces on them have been oil painted, which is different. This is probably the first time we've oil painted on fabric. And oil paint's permanent. I happen to have, my mother painted them for me, so it's really special.
I want to thank you so much for coming today. Your work is wonderful.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to share this with you.
And I can't wait to see what other stained glass quilts you come up with.
Oh, I have a lot of exciting ones planned in the future.
Thanks so much, Linda. Well, when we come back, we'll ask the oft-asked question about color value. So stick around.